everyone and welcome to All of the Chug. This is Olive and I'm Taylor and we're doing a long overdue video which is a meet all of my pets. It's a pretty simple concept. I'm just gonna kind of show you all of my pets that I have. But today's video will be a little bit cool because I'm going to take you to my classroom where you'll see my pets that I keep there also. So it'll be a fun kind of field trip for today's video. So let's get started. If you're here, you have to know Olive. Olive is the reason for the channel. She is probably my soulmate of a pet. So Olive is a Chug, which is a Pug Chihuahua mix. She is purely half and half. She is a rescue also, and she is 5 years old as of today. She'll be turning 6 in a few months. If you want to read a little backstory for any of these pets, you can always go to allofthechug.com, and we have a pets page where you can read about each animal and kind of their background and who they are. But this is Olive, and yeah, are you a good girl? But Olive is not my only dog. So when Olive was about 3 years old, I was living in my first apartment. It was just her and I, and it was a little lonely because Olive is a very calm dog, and we needed something to liven up the party. And so we got my second pet. So this is Minnie. Minnie is a complete mutt. She's also a complete stray. She was found about 1 year old wandering the streets in a very large and dangerous city. She got picked up, brought to the rescue where I volunteer at, and that's where I met her, and I instantly knew that was the dog I was looking for. So Minnie is super loud, not afraid of anything, loves to meet people and all animals of all kinds. She's super optimistic, but she's confident too and not afraid to stand her ground. Minnie is the perfect match to Olive. Because Olive can be very shy, and Minnie, we joke around that Minnie is her therapy dog. Because now I'm going to show you my third pet. This is Billy. Billy is my Netherland Dwarf rabbit. Calm down, Billy. There you go. Billy is my Netherland Dwarf rabbit. I got him earlier this year. He is a male. He's neutered. He's my first rabbit actually, but rabbits have been something that's like on my dream pet list since I was young, and I always wanted a rabbit. But now that I have my own place in my own house, I was able to finally get a rabbit, and so I'm so happy. I've had him for about over 6 months now, and he's like a dream. Like, it's everything that I always wanted with having a rabbit. My fourth pet! So I'm not gonna have him out with me right now. Scar is my blue-tongued skink, and being a reptile and that it's winter and it's actually very rainy and stormy today. In the wintertime, reptiles do something on occasion called brumation, which if you've ever heard of hibernation, it's essentially the same kind of thing to the average person. So right now, he is brumating. He is in the bottom of his cage and he won't come out for another like month or two. So he's gonna stay in there, but I'm gonna show you some clips now of what Scar actually looks like. And while these clips kind of roll, Scar was my, Scar was my first like big reptile, but he is captive bred, which means he's never seen the outside of a house. But Scar's been a really fun, great animal to have. And I'd love to get another if I have the cage space someday. And that leads me to animal number 5. Sprig is my Leopard Gecko, or the giant New Caledonian gecko. Giant in the name, meaning she's going to get very large. So here's Sprig's cage, which has a little bit of a mess next to it, but Sprig's cage is I don't know the gallon size, but it's the largest paludarium that ZooMed carries. And so, you can probably see her right there. There is Sprig hiding in the bamboo. So for size reference, here's Sprig and here's my hand next to her. So a fairly large gecko species. And now, we are out of my pets at home. that's pretty much it. I just want to leave off kind of by saying that these are all of my pets at home. I only really have about like 5 or so in total, which is not a lot. So to some people it is, but to me it's not a lot. But remember, that is changing. I have a reptile cabinet I am working on, which will house 3 new reptiles in it when finished. Let's go ahead and take a trip over to school. Hey guys, what's up? So guess what? We are in my classroom right now. And as much as I'd love to do a little classroom tour, that's not why we're here. Of course, I'm doing a all my pets video, and it's a pet channel, so you're probably not here to see the classroom stuff. But I'm happy you finally get to kind of come here and see this, because this is where I spend most of my day. I'm here at least 8 hours. And I teach wearing glasses, so if you see this little red mark on my nose, it's where my glasses sit on the bridge of my nose, and it always makes a little mark when I take my glasses off, but I didn't want to wear them for the video because they're causing a glare with all my fluorescent lights, which are so wonderful. So let's go look at my pets that I have around the room. So this is Cashew's cage. Cashew is a Dwarf hamster, and she is a female. Personal experience, I just find female rodents smell less than males, so that's why I choose females over males. But she's got her whole little bearing fluff section. She has a little dust bath right there. Little toys, the wheel. I really like this flat style wheel because it helps with the arch of their back when they're running, and it's more of a natural run, so they don't end up breaking their back. And hi, Cashew. The next animal that we've got right here are my little red claw crabs, and they're very, very tiny. So here's their tank. This is the scientific name for fiddlers, but I never ended up re-looking up if it applies to red claws, but I'm sure it's very similar, hopefully. Maybe I should update that. They live in a 20-gallon long, which has the little beach access, and they are a brackish crab, so I have to mix salt with fresh water to get something like that, which you wouldn't be able to tell, but I do have to mix salt in. I named them Glenn and Maggie after The Walking Dead, and this is what they look like. So there's one, and there's the other one. So like I said, they're very tiny. Now, right here, that I'm gonna whip over to, this is my crawdad. Oh, look at him. He's like, what in the world did you bring today? He's never seen a camera. He lives in my little dinosaur-themed tank. He loves this moss ball to death, but he lives in a 10-gallon, which probably isn't seemingly as huge proportionate to what they get, but crawdads do fine. They're actually very good at survival type of scenarios, so they don't need a lot of space. And he does a lot of climbing around. Actually really does enjoy the tank. He's constantly fiddling and moving things. He used to have some neon tetra buddies, which there's only one left right behind him, but you know, he's a crawdad, so he ate them. But that's fine, and that's why I put them in there. I knew that he would possibly eat them, but you know, it just adds to his diet, it adds variety, gives him exercise, stimulation. So this tank, we're now opposite to where we were over where the other tank just was. And so this one is empty. It's purely for decoration, but students, for whatever reason, they always think a snake is in here. Like, I constantly get is there a snake in this tank? And I'm like, there's no lid. Here, I have my 40-gallon fish tank. This is a breeder size 40 gallons, so it's kind of shorter and wider than a typical 40-gallon. I freaking love this thing. This is actually inspired by kind of where I go camping yearly, and so I actually wanted to kind of mimic that river here. So I don't know, it's a personal thing for me. It's calming because it's something familiar and I like to do, but the kids love it. They love to stare at it and watch the fish. And then right next door, with a skull on top, is my Leopard Gecko, whose name is Amoeba. You've actually seen Amoeba before. So you've seen her before, you've seen her tank. I'm dying to upgrade this thing. I really want to do a natural scape with the like
I'm blanking on the word, I'll look it up and I'll insert it here, but it's like the sand that you can mold somewhat like clay. I'm dying to redo her scape because, like I said, I'm an example to the students, and this is a good example because most leopard geckos, a pet store will tell you a 10-gallon is fine for an adult, but look how big she is in something like this. This is a 20-gallon long. So this is the same space that the crabs are in, and look how tiny the crabs are and how much room they get. I would love to put her in a 40 breeder, something like this. But for now, she's okay here, so until I can get a 40 breeder, I do want to at least upgrade this, and this is good. This is a good setup, and so it's not bad. And if my students had something like this, I would be fine with that. Like, this is fine, but I like to go above and beyond, so I'd love to get her a 40 breeder, or at minimum rescape this so it is more of a natural scape and not tile. But that's Amoeba, and if you haven't seen her video, I'll link it at the top. I actually caught her shedding and filmed the whole shed from start to finish.
And this last one I have to show you because I brought it home for winter break and it's not in my classroom, but typically it would be. I actually have a video on these, but these are the morning geckos. Here's the little fruit flies that I feed them. So the morning geckos are super, super cool. The morning geckos are super, super cool. I have a video on them as well, even talking about why I keep them as a class pet, because hint, they're an all-female species. There are no males in existence, and so they have to reproduce by cloning, and it's a really cool concept that I love to talk about. So I'll leave that video there up in the cards for you to watch, but they are my last pet that I keep in my classroom. Alright guys, that's it for the video. We will see you later, and there goes Olive.